Hey guys, welcome to another video with me, Crazy Skindog, and today we have round 2 of the SRK Championship. And if you've seen part 1, you will know that I took a podium in my class. I took P2 in my class in round 1 at Castle Combe, so that was a fantastic day. This round 2 here is at Herefordshire Raceway, and I'd only been here once before. I came up 2 weeks before this event for some practice because I've not driven this track before. And yeah, just looking to build on that P2 in class and progress that further into the year and really set us up with a nice start. We also lead the team championship going into this heat, so again we're hoping to get a good result as a team and maintain that lead in the team championship. And yeah, we got there, we did the 10-minute pre-event practice, felt pretty good in the car, did a 34.3, which was only 4/10 off the ultimate fastest pace, so was really happy with my pace on that. That was a 10th faster than I went when I came a few weeks ago, so happy with some improvement. And the way the event ran today was just exactly the same as Castle Combe. 3 heats, more karts per heat because the track's larger, so you had 12 karts per heat, and it's 10 lap heats, so they're really long heats, these ones. You've got time to really build a race and kind of move up towards somebody else and make moves and have a real battle with somebody, and it's also a long time to defend for. And then the finals would be 12 karts and 12 laps instead of 10, so again a real long final, plenty of time to build that race and kind of gain on the guy in front or hold somebody off behind, etc., and just have a good long battle. It's not all one lap and then you're kind of settled into your positions and just trying to salvage anything. You've got time to not panic and just get a decent race in, and hopefully that length of heat means that you kind of finish in the kind of positions that your pace will allow, if that makes sense. But let's hop on into the racing and see how we went on in the heats. Okay guys, so here we are, we're coming to the grid now. We had a few laps practice, which is what you would have seen in the background behind the intro there, and we're going to come on round to the start grid now. And I'm confused because I'm 11th on the list for the entry, but it turns out there was only 11 karts in this heat, so I go into the grid slot here slightly confused, and then yeah, I just call the marshal over just to double check because I was expecting to be on the left hand side of the grid, which is the odd number. But when I ask how many karts there is and he says 11, then I work out that actually I'm supposed to be on this side and someone ahead of me must have pulled out. So we're going to wait for the green light, look around Diego's head there, see Shrek in front, and off we go, away we go, green light. We're going to slot in onto the left hand side. That's the plan here at this track, just always get left straight away so that the inside line doesn't get taken away from you. We're going to look up the inside, not going to quite come off, and yeah, we're just going to settle back in and see if we can start to make some moves. We go wide into that drop down the bridge, got that wrong, and look how much time we lost. We're just miles back now, but luckily there's a lot of battling ahead, so hopefully we're going to get caught back up and get involved in these battles up ahead, as we see Diego makes a move up the inside there, and then 3 wide going towards the next hairpin. That's always going to go well, but they managed to get round. We get the hairpin wrong and lose out a little bit again. Yeah, wasn't comfortable in this car, and we're going to see what's going on ahead, side by side coming down the bridge. No, we're going to single fault. Oh, there's a little lump ahead. Oliver Biani taking a nudge in the back there, but everybody stays going forwards and coming into this super fast right-hander. Diego sends it up the inside, and we're going to try and follow, but we just can't get drive out of that corner. And Gabe's going to look up the inside. We're going to hope to follow him, and no, he's going to be stuck, so we're going to go for the left because we think this guy's going to win the inside. He overcooks it, he spins Diego, we bump into Diego and pump him back round, and then we lose all of our momentum. We lose out to that guy. Luckily we managed to stay ahead of the guy on our left, but yeah, that was an unfortunate sequence of events where we'd chosen the right side. That guy up the inside, in theory, if he'd got his braking right, was making a move up the inside of Gabe, and we would have been able to follow. And then we're inside coming down the straight, so depending on the drag race, we could be looking at more positions up ahead. As it worked out, we ended up losing out, but we're going to get our heads down, going to try and make a move again, try and build some laps together. Again, we're just getting bad drive out of that corner, and yeah, I wasn't happy with this car. This was kart 2, and Neil Durant mentioned that it was pretty rubbish, although he managed to do really well in his heat in it, but Neil, he does special things. And also in a heat later after this, Bradley Shepherd actually just comes in during the practice for the heat and just says no to this car. That guy slides ahead, we go to make a move, but then we nudges inside, and that's going to kill our drive. And we're going to look around the outside here, no, nothing doing, and then that straight just isn't quite long enough to get a move on. If you do get better drive, you quite often just end up having to slot in behind, ready for under the bridge. Coming down the hill, we can look interested, yeah. No, again, we lose out just coming out the bottom of the hill. Not getting that corner great in these early heats. But yeah, this kart 2 was vetoed by Brad Shepherd as well, and it actually turned out that it had some flat tyres, I believe. Saw the marshals pumping it up. So when you watch the finals video, remember kart 2 had its tyres pumped up halfway through the day. You'll have to tune in later to find out what the relevance of that is. But it does explain the massive understeer that this kart has given me, and how coming down that hill is just not gripping. It's just going wide, washing wide. So now you probably saw the nose of Gabe's kart from behind. We have to start defending now, and that just puts us offline, so then the guy in front starts pulling away. On this track, once you start defending, you really start to lose loads of time to the guys ahead. You can see we're very defensive there, coming up to the hairpin, and we're nearly side by side, but it looks like he's falling back a bit. We're going to turn in, and no, we're going to get a nudge. Now, I'm not happy with this one, not going to lie. You can see me signalling towards the marshals there. For me, he wasn't alongside. You can see on the camera he was, and then I started to pull away as we came under the bridge. I've turned in on the racing line, and it seems like he's just left his nose in, which has then nudged me sideways slightly, killed all of my momentum, and he's just carried on up the inside. There's probably a certain element of I should have gone a little bit wider into the corner, but then you're offline and you just slide, and in practice I did that and I ended up sliding out. So I felt like it was my corner. Obviously the marshals, nothing came of it because it's under the bridge. There's no marshal anywhere near there, so they can't see that. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you think that is. Apparently I'm not calling out Gabe or anything, it's racing, it happens. We were, alongside going down the straight, but as we were coming towards the bridge I did start to pull ahead a little bit. But yeah, no, let me know what you think, because I'm always open to being told that I'm wrong, or that I've got the wrong end of the stick, or I'm seeing things a bit biased. But yeah, and then you just see how much time I'm losing to Gabe here. Clearly I was holding him up because he's pulled away, but he is an SRK1 driver, so that is kind of semi-expected. But yeah, so at this point it's just head down, get the laps in, try and see if anything happens ahead. But we're so low down in the heat at this point, it's hard. That early race incident really did kind of mess up my race quite a bit, through no fault of my own. But yeah, it happens in racing, I guess. And there's 2 more heats to come after this one. We will watch the rest of this one. We've got the last lap board out there, so there's 1 more lap to come. We're not catching anybody. The guy behind us isn't catching us, so our finish pace is pretty set at this point. But yeah, just unfortunate. I think the guy in the yellow helmet and gloves has had a poor race. He's made some contact with Diego, had a little bit of contact with him as well after that, and yeah, it's just a bit of a scrappy one to begin the day, but it is only the start of the day, so we're gonna put that one to bed. SRK2 is very competitive, as we saw at Castle Combe. The top 3 were 11th, 12th and 13th, and then the 4th place driver was like 26th or something. So with so many SRK1 drivers that have raced here before, really fast guys, there's 27 of them. So in theory, if you're in the top 20, you've beaten some SRK1 guys, so you're probably competing for the top of the SRK2. So a 10th place, isn't the end of the world. It's not the best start, but it's not the end of the world. We'll jump on to Heat 2 and hopefully have some more luck, some better luck in that one. Okay guys, so Heat 2, as previous with SRK, you have random grid starts. So one you'll start towards the front, one you'll start in the middle, and one you'll start towards the back. So that first heat was my back start from P11 on paper, but 10 in the end. This is my front start, P3, and look at those two names in front of me. Lucas Sullivan in second, and Sam Slater in first. Now we raced Lucas a little bit at Castle Combe in the finals, but he mostly pulled away from the SRK2 drivers of us there. A little thumbs up to Dan over on the other side there. And yeah, so basically here the plan is follow Sam and Lucas. It's unlikely that I'm going to beat either of them on pace, but I'm hoping I can just stick to them and pull away from the pack. Hopefully there won't be too much fighting between us three, or if those two are battling, they're going to be quick doing so. So I'm hoping to just stay ahead of the guys behind me and take home a P3. Obviously we had that poor finish in Heat 1, but here we go, the grid's formed. Eyes to the lights, green straight away, away we go. Lucas pulls right over, so we're just going to slot in behind, or let him slot in front rather, and defensive on the first lap, don't want anybody to dive bomb us. And yeah, there we go, we've made it around the first couple of corners down the hill. How's that going to go? Alright, we got down the hill, and we haven't lost too much time. You can see Sam's pulled out a little bit of a gap ahead, and Lucas has pulled out a little bit of a gap on us, but that's fine. We're not expecting to compete with those two. We're just looking to consolidate this third place, and we're going well. It started well so far. We're getting some decent drive around that hairpin this time. This kart felt so much better than kart 2. I turned the steering wheel and the kart turns. It was glorious. But yeah, it was a much easier kart to drive for me personally than the one in the first heat. And yeah, so as we see, we dropped back a tiny bit, but they're not steaming away from us. So I'm happy at this point. I'm feeling like my pace is decent. I'm close to matching the two ahead, and I'm not being challenged from behind. You can see I'm just taking the race in line all the time. I'm not even looking behind me. I'm just feeling comfortable, feeling settled, and just focusing. As I said, a little look over the shoulder there as we go around that hairpin. But as I said, they're long heats, so I'm just trying to focus, make sure I don't get distracted, start thinking about how wonderful a day it is, or you know, how pretty the trees look, or anything silly like that. Focused on the race and just hitting my braking points and the turning in points. And yeah, luckily, as I said, I feel comfortable with this kart, so I'm really able to stretch my legs and chuck it around. You can see Lucas has started to catch Sam a little bit ahead, and they've both pulled away from me slightly, but again, I'm fine with that. I'm just racing my race, taking my P3. I'm first of the SRK2 drivers in this heat, so it's kind of weird the way you kind of have to watch who's racing, because ultimately the two ahead, they're going to go side by side, and Lucas is going to overtake Sam, and yeah, Lucas has made a move on Sam, and then Sam's going to try and make a move back down the straight, and they're going to go side by side under the bridge. Yeah, and Sam has made that move stick, so he's really sent it up the inside there and made that move stick. So yeah, as I was saying though, they're SRK1. I'm technically not really competing with them. Obviously I want to finish ahead of everybody, but they're in a different class to me, so we're not really competing for the same podium. We're competing for our own class podium. Lucas goes to send it up the inside and just overcooks it horribly, and you'll see that lets us catch up a little bit. So at this point we're starting to get interested, because these two are battling out, and whilst they are quite a way ahead, when they battle really hard, it does kind of pull me into play. So maybe there's more on offer. Maybe we'll see. It's very unlikely, they are much faster. But yeah, with it being two different classes, in each heat, if you can just be the top finishing SRK2 driver, then you've beaten everybody in your class. You've effectively won that heat for your class. So that's just as good, almost. Obviously, it's better to score more points for finishing first in the heat, but it's just as good to beat all of the other SRK2 drivers in terms of my championship. We're going to see Lucas and Sam are really getting racy here, and it's letting me get a little bit involved. So we'll see if anything opens up. Lucas is going to go for a move, and he's going to pitch Sam round, and Sam spun, and that puts me into P2. Instant penalty for Lucas, obviously no need to even think about that. That move was never on. It's basically impossible to overtake up there unless you are already pulling ahead by the turning point. If you're not at least wheel to wheel alongside at the turning point, you've got to back out, because you're just going to send the other person into a spin with how aggressively the road slopes away. And so yeah, P2. We're half expecting Sam to catch me back up and pass me, but I mean we're relatively far into the heat at this point, so he might not have time, he might not have pace. I mean, I'm not terribly slow, so yeah, he's very fast, but he has lost a shed load of time there trying to recover from that spin. I believe he did stay, yeah, he stayed third. We had such a lead on the rest of the pack. Exactly what I wanted to happen from the start has happened. The two in front have pulled away. I've kind of followed them to a degree. Obviously I'm not keeping up with them because they're much faster than me, but I followed them to a degree and just let them pull me away from the pack, and then the pack fights behind, and you just get loads of gap behind. Enough gap in fact that Sam got spun out and then was still third. So yeah, we're just racing our race and we're getting rewarded. We've avoided incident, and yeah, two clean drivers. I say two clean drivers in front of me because they've had an incident. Two very fast drivers that usually race very fair and well. I don't think Lucas meant anything by it. It was just, it looked like it was opening up and he's gone for the move, and it just didn't come off. He's not like punted Sam off maliciously or anything. And there we go, the last lap board. And the marshal going to sprint there. There's actually a yellow flag round by the hairpins, I believe. Yeah, somebody getting pulled out of the wall there. So I think that was Dan in the end, the teammate from Swift Cooper. He got wiped out. But yeah, so we've had a great race. We've run our race, and yeah, with the two clean drivers ahead, apart from the one incident that they found themselves in, we've managed to get a P2, an amazing bundle of points, and really made up for that poor heat one. And you'll see how happy I am with this as I come across the line. A little fist pump. That's a good feeling. We've taken that P2 and really, yeah, scored a shed load of points to set us up well for the day. So now heat 3 will be starting 6th, and there's a few SRK2 drivers ahead of us in that heat from the grid, so we're looking for a real improvement in that heat to put us in a decent final. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. We just got the 2 heats. These are long races, and yeah, and we will see you for heat 3 and the final very soon. Thank you very much. Have a good day.